Just keep your eyes closed, please. Just share these thoughts as you sit down quietly. Just observe the silence outside. Direct your attention to the stillness, silence outside. As you direct your attention, you can also hear some sounds. Not only my speech now, but a little, maybe song at a distance, birds, so many different sounds. But these sounds do not prevent you from being aware of the silence. Simultaneously, you can be aware both the silence as well as the sound. If you now direct your attention within, there is also the silence awareness yourself. Of course, there are many thoughts, but unlike outside, where the sounds do not prevent you from listening to silence, rather change the statement. Sounds never prevent or facilitate. It depends on you to be aware of the silence even while listening to sound. Because no sound can ever drown the silence. Within, as you observe yourself, usually average person loses himself in the thoughts of various kinds as though you lose sight of yourself. Please appreciate, as even outside, no sound can drown the silence, no thought can ever drown the silence awareness that you are. All that needs is our own appreciation of ourselves. Long before you are conscious of the thought, first you are conscious. Consciousness itself. The thought begins, thought ends. You are beginningless, endless. Like a sound begins, sound ends. Silence, beginningless, endless. Just see the effortlessness of being yourself when You wait for a thought to appear or to disappear. Awareness is a self-assertion exists by itself. Just see that, please. That is your happiness. Now connect it to, relate it to the Saguna Nirguna Upasana. Happiness effortless. Object of happiness far away. The thought of happiness seems to cover the happiness itself. When you get the object of your thought, the happiness, when you get the object of your thought, which you consider as the source of happiness, the thoughts disappear. You are with yourself, the happiness itself. So through the Saguna Upasana, through the objects of your happiness, you can consciously go back to the source, that is yourself. Thus, you enjoy your freedom to be happy with yourself as you are, or see it through all perceptions, sensations, all experiences of life. Same thing. What you call happiness, self-awareness, Nirguna Parabrahma, Ishvara, with all forms at his disposal. You can see him as he is in yourself. Or start with a form in which your form is included. As even in the object of happiness, you have to see yourself reflecting. In the object of happiness, if there is any happiness, it is your reflection. So in the representation of Ishvara, you are there. When you give up your body, your mind, in totality, can't escape being yourself. So both are totally desirable, adorable. You choose whichever one is convenient. When Bhagavan says, klesha adhikatarastesha, the word difficult is brought in because when you're stuck to your body, you cannot give it up to Ishvara, nor you can think of the absolute, formless awareness, apparent difficulty. And between the two, contemplating on the formless absolute is a little more difficult, as you are used to form, wedded to your body, lost in sensations, perceptions, suddenly you have to be with formless absolute, where no form, no thought, no perception, no sensation is ever talked about. Whereas with Ishvara, when you think of all forms, your form is included. It's like thinking of yourself as the happiness itself, or seeing the happiness in a sound, touch, taste, or a smell, a sight, or any experience. To be the master, to always abide in yourself. Not only it is essential, you are effortlessly with yourself, but also every experience reminds you of yourself. Not only you are with yourself, ahamatma sarvabhutasaya sthita. One says, I, the self, in all beings, that as God, or in any form and every form. You see the presence, divine, all-pervasive. Choose the water or the ocean, but never be the wave, independent of either. Vedesangavadakramaopanishade Hayandiyam Samaga Yanavastida Tadgate Namanasa Shantiyam Yasyantam Navidusura Suragana Evaya Tasmai. Just think of this, please. From there we can connect right away. Please read. Yetu sarvani karmani Mayi sanyasya matparaha Ananyenaiva yogena Mam dhyayanta upasate Teshamaham samudharta Mrityu sansara sagarat Bhavami nachirat partha Mayyaveshita chetasam Mayyeva mana adhatsva Mayi buddhim niveshayah Nivasishyasi mayyeva Ata urdhvam na sansayah Mayyeva mana adhatsva Mayi buddhim niveshaya Nivasishyasi mayyeva Ata urdhvam na sansayah. Please see that. So I gave you the synopsis now. I hope you grasp it. That language that Bhagavan uses, klesha adhikatarastesam. When you say klesha adhikatara, more difficulty in avyakta sakta chetasam, those who take to the path of nirguna Brahma, those who want to contemplate on the formless absolute, klesha adhikatara. That means even in Saguna Brahma there is a klesha, there is difficulty. Listen. So, in Saguna Brahma Upasana, even to contemplate on God also there is difficulty, as even in the Nirguna Brahma Upasana, but in Nirguna Brahma, formless absolute, little more difficult. Why is it so? Why there is difficulty? Because what is natural to individual is living with duality, separation, alienation. This is easy, to be living like an animal, totally separated from everything, to be selfish, to be angry, which comes naturally to people. Understand? Selfishness, anger, hatred comes naturally. Because my body, I am eating food, this is my food. You touch it, you see what happens to animals. This morning newspaper report in Kanchi temple, there are 3 elephants. All the 3, mummy and 2 daughters, 3 elephants are there. 2-3 months back, a new mouth was appointed. The old mouth also is there. This morning yesterday he went to bathe. And then this new person is trying to wake them up. The old one, 30-35 years, doesn't want to get up. So he has got a sharp, the spike. He gave her 1 or 2. She got up, pushed him in the trunk, crushed. The daughter also joined him crushing. Why? This is animal. I am sleeping, don't wake me up. Human beings, what do? Children, how do they behave? Try to wake up a child, you pull your hair, cry, protest. Why? Comes naturally. You do have a scent of an elephant, when you get up, sorry. With a trunk will give you a blessing. A human being can pretend. Wake up somebody, of course, how do you pretend? If the person who is waking you up is lower than you, burn him down with the anger. If it is senior to you, more respectable, okay. If people see that, you understand how we pretend? If the person is more powerful, you are a submissive rat. If the person is less powerful, oh boy, you are a lion. You understand how the rat and lion live together in same place? That is a human being. Pretenses, stupid. Naturally it comes to everybody. To give up your individuality at the altar of God is not that easy. To give up yourself completely into formless absolute, much more difficult. At least to another person, just like you give up yourself to your father, mother, children, husband, wife, in a relationship you can give up. Maybe with a God I can give up. But formless absolute, very difficult. That is why Bhagavan says, klesha adhigatarastesam. But then, as we have been seeing it for last 2-3 classes, please think over this. Born ignorant, we don't want to remain ignorant. Therefore, we are studying. As we are growing up in our life, enlightened, educated society teaches us to be independent. You must be independent. You must rely on yourself. The whole education makes you educated so that you can have your job, money, things, but that gives you a type of a delusion, as though my job is me, my money is me, my house is me, my position is me. And therefore you get deluded that you are independent, even though all the time depending on something or somebody. Please see that. You must see that, because this is a high-class delusion. High-class delusion. Understand? When you are inside it, you cannot see it. A man who wrote a French novel, and he told everybody, I have written this novel in Paris. I have written this novel in Paris, from where Eiffel Tower is not visible. Name the place where from Eiffel Tower is not be visible. Only inside the Eiffel Tower. If you go into 35th floor or 34th floor and sit down there in a restaurant, can you see the Eiffel Tower? That is how you miss. Where from you cannot see yourself? Only inside you. Outside things, that is why everybody, Paranchikani, remember that. Swayambhu Vetrunat. God himself, as though had destroyed the person by giving him a set of sense organs which look out, out, out. So the delusion is so complete that you are lost inside yourself, lost in the body, lost in the education, lost in a degree, lost in position, lost in money, lost in relationship. The person thinks he is independent, very independent. And you are a devotee of that also, a devotee of money. Do you throw your money around or keep it in the safest place? Think. Your money you do not keep, throw it around like God. How nicely kept? A special temple is built. Door in the door, in the door, in the door. Last one. God must be kept. Like that. Where do you keep your money? Where do you keep your jewelry? In America now it is happening. All Indian houses are now targeted for stealing. Because in America also now people know Indian women put on 22 karat gold. Can you believe today it is 700 theft in just 15-20 days. Some people systematically going, targeting only Indian houses, and they are so well versed with that, they know which is 22 karat gold, which is European American ornament, and which are designer ornament, which is useless. They look like gold, but there is no gold. And also designer sari which has got gold thread, which are ordinary sari, which is 100 rupees. Complete. And they take it, keep it everything back in time and go. Because they are everything in time. No, everybody is in time. 10 to 4 means 10 to 4. Nobody will be there. So perfect for stealing. In Indian household it's difficult to steal because you don't know who will come when. There is no timing. Anybody can come in any time. So here 10 to 4 means 10 to 4. Even in your own house you should not come before 10 and after 4. Before 4. Anyway. So people know where to keep it. No, they don't throw it, they don't throw it around. Ishvara, you keep it like that. Everything you worship, please think of it. If the religious person depends on a god, the secular person depends upon a god-like money, god-like job, god-like person, god-like power. Are you getting that point, please? And the worshipping method is exactly same. A special place is given to money. A special place is given to anything that you like. Any object that you like in your room, that will have a special place. Nobody else should touch it, untouchable. Others should not touch it, your God. Are you getting that? Others should not touch it. Nobody should touch it. It is your God. You should keep it. And every day you should have a look at it also. Morning, evening, see that it is there. Prayer time. And wherever you go, first thing you take care of that one. Just think of it. Exactly like God, you take care of it. And the last moment of your life, of course, you remember. Bring my things, like Mahmud of Ghazni. He wanted all the looting, emerald, diamond, all that he looted from the Indian Empire, to keep it. He can put his hand on it and die. Why? That is the one you have been worshipping. Understand? But that doesn't give you security. Rather, it gives you greater insecurity. As even an object of worship, as even an object of your pleasure, held in esteem as a God, becomes the source of your insecurity. The so-called concept of a God, which is very, very exclusive, sitting down in one place, also becomes another source of your insecurity, another source of your pleasure. Because it is a source of your pleasure, it becomes a source of pain, because if you cannot think of it, you don't know what to do. Anybody who wants to take away your belief, you shall destroy him. Like anybody wants to take away your money, you want to destroy him. Why? Both cases, your security is challenged. Understand? So, the concept of God, if it is exclusive in one place, one name, one form, or there is no form which is outside the creation, both such concepts shall be completely deluding, because they shall make you feel insecure. Just like object of happiness makes you feel insecure, because you cannot be with your object of happiness all the time. You can be with your happiness all the time. Are you getting that point, please? If you don't understand, I don't know what to do. Okay? You better watch out. Are you getting that point, please? It is like an atom bomb. Keep it, to put it on your head, on your so-called stubborn, stringent thoughts. Very difficult to handle. Nonsense. Understand? It is very difficult to be, what very difficult? Impossible to be with your object of happiness all the time. If you consider happiness is an object, and there is an object of happiness for you, there is an object of security for you, rest assured you have decided to be miserable as long as you are walking on this earth. Because you cannot be with that object at all the time. Even if the object, like an inanimate object, gold, diamond, yacht, plane, all these things can be there, lasting, they can be there for longer than you. You shall be dead, and that shall create another type of problem. Why? My object of happiness, now somebody else is going to enjoy. I purchased a car, somebody else is going to drive. I purchased one, plane, somebody else is going to drive, fly. I had a yacht, somebody else is going to enjoy. At the house, somebody else is going to enjoy. Miserable. The object, understand, as long as you consider the happiness lies in the object of your happiness, that long you shall be miserable. You cannot be with that object for the longest time. Whereas if happiness is yourself, you cannot escape being with it. So decide, you want to be happy or you want to be miserable. Now God comes under same rule. If there is an object you have identified as God, that is why these theologies which confine God to a particular form, they kill the mankind. Because this is the God, everything else is ungodly. That is why in English you shall see this type of expression. Ungodly hour, God-forsaken place. Are you getting that? In the language of Sanskrit, where the concept is, there is nothing called ungodly hour. There is no ungodly. Everything auspicious. Everything auspicious. Relatively, somebody playing a game like this Yamagalam, what is that? Yamagandagam and nonsense. And that is for the babies to play around with. But the absolute, every moment is auspicious. That line when you say that, Sarvam Jagadeva Nandanavanam Sarvepi Kalpadrumaha Samastavari Gangavari Nivaha Punya Samasta Kriya. Every action is auspicious. There is no inauspicious action. Punya Samasta Kriya. Samastaga Bari Gangavari Nivaha. Every drop of water is the Ganges water. Absolutely holy. Sampurnam Samastam Jagadeva Nandanavanam. The whole Sarvam Jagadevanam, the whole universe is Nandanavana. Nandati, Nandati, Nandati. It's an absolute pleasure garden. Absolute happiness everywhere. Sarvepi Kalpadruma. Everybody is a wish-yielding tree. Why everybody is a Kalpadruma? A Druma is a Kalpa. Whatever Kalpana, whatever you wish, it comes. Wish-yielding tree. You understand? When you know that you are the happiness itself, your life is like a Kalpadruma. Everything is beautiful for you. Are you getting that point, please? A good man may not be happy, but a happy person is necessarily good. A bad man cannot be happy, but a happy person can choose to be bad also. But in his badness there will be no venom. In that goodness there will be no obsession. It's an amazing dimension. You are happy with yourself, all the time happy with yourself. The type of vyavahara, whatever it comes through, in every one of it, the knowledge reflects. Sarvepi kalpadruma. So that is the vision. Whereas if you make the God sitting down in one place, then naturally you find it difficult. As even if you see your happiness confined to an object, listen, if you see your happiness confined to an object, you shall never be happy in life. And if you see the happiness in yourself, you cannot ever escape happiness in life. As long as you are confining God to a particular form, you can never be with God for all times to come. And if you see the God in yourself, you cannot escape the touch of divinity. Which one you want to choose? What choices you have? Which one shall I do? Ask yourself the question, which one is easier for you? For most people, easier thing is, understand, those days, not nowadays. Those days, when people are not very highly educated, it was easier to submit to another unknown God, whether in one place or everywhere. We shall think that later on. But at least you can submit. Why? Human beings are so powerless, uneducated, no insight into the creation, nothing. Today, with education means training to be self-reliant. I don't want to depend on my father. We have seen it elaborately last 2 days. We don't want to rely on my father. You can't be depending on your father or mother or education system, anything. Stand on your own leg. From the day you start walking, that message is prayed, pushed into your head. Stand on your leg. Be independent. How? Make your money, get your car, be educated, have your own thing. To such a man, later on you say, surrender to God. What God? You are already spoiled. Are you getting that point? This is the generation, the I generation, where the individuality is held as the ultimate icon. I am the one. So to the person whom day one you are telling him to be independent, suddenly you ask him, pray. For what? It doesn't gel. Contradiction. So you cannot force any youngster, a person who is studying all these things, to surrender to God. Becomes very difficult. Of course, life teaches him to surrender. Why? When you depend on your money, your education, everything, it definitely gives you a lot of security. But it gives you material security. Emotionally, you are shattered. The money with which you wanted to purchase your people, they run away, leaving your money with you. The power with which you wanted to subjugate people, they run away, leave with your power. Now suddenly you are destroyed inside, lonely, isolated. You know, these little gods, money, power, position, doesn't help. So long you are laughing at the religious man's God, doesn't matter, he is in one place or in all places. You had no business with that. but suddenly you are looking for an alternative lifestyle. Depends which one you come across. Suppose you are unlucky, if I can say that word. You come across somebody who says, this is your God, and surrender to it. Or this is your method, you surrender to it. That is why people, what they get a chance exposure, lucky people will come across the absolute knowledge. This is where really karma will come. Not make it karma oriented, but what else you can explain? Why somebody goes somewhere? Because you could have gone to anybody. When you are desperate, it's like you are desperate, right time the right doctor is there, you are cured. Wrong doctor, you are dead. Yesterday it happened again. A plane was coming from Abu Dhabi to Thailand. Suddenly a person develops a heart attack, heart problem. And the pilot phones up to Madras. Madras phones up to Delhi. Delhi grants the permission, lands there. Straight to the hospital, fellow survived. Lucky. How many people survive like that? Out in 2 minutes. But this man survived. Imagine. This is luck. It could have been 200 kilometers away from Madras or 500 kilometers away from Madras. It could have been after the Madras, inside the sea. What do? Just think. So when you are really going through your disappointment, the gods of material kind of failed you, you swallow your pride. Somewhere, that is the time you look for meditation camp, retreat, meditation retreat, yoga retreat, Vedanta retreat, this retreat, that retreat, this religion retreat. People have gone to. Yesterday, 3 people, I was just telling the other day, another person has died from that sweat retreat in Sedona. 50 people in one room, sweating it out in meditation. 3 people suffocated, died. So many cults around the world. Which one you join? You don't know. You come across. For people to survive each one of those cults, again must be karma. Or their sheer tenacity, intelligence, maturity, because of which they survive. The person goes into that. And then that is where the religious man makes a business. Because as even the person says, purchase a car, that is your happiness. Purchase this 50 inches TV, that is your happiness. Purchase the digital camera, that is your happiness. Purchase this house in the mountain top, this is your happiness. The gods also in that advertisement row, come to my God, there will be peace. Hold your nose, stand on your tail, do whatever you like, you shall be peaceful. Oh boy. If you come here, you shall see light and star. Advertisement galore. So when you're disappointed with these gods of material kind, you go into religious kind. For some time, you feel absolutely peaceful. Why? You have just now fully exhausted, tired. You have given up. That itself is a religion. Doesn't matter where it is. But after some time, again it returns. You want to come back. Just like the person who goes to hospital. Tired of the sickness, he goes there. But once he is little cured, wants to go back to the same suite, same thing. So go back to that place. Or if you can create a religiously luxurious empire, that also will be interesting. We are very religious. Like the language you use, like these secular people use, Taj Hermitage. In Goa, there is a Taj Hermitage. What is Hermitage? Hermitage is where the hermits stay. In Taj Hermitage, who stays? Commonwealth heads of states. Swamiji is Kutiya. Kutiya means what? Air-conditioned condo. Right? Now what is Kutiya? Kutiya means what? Kutiya means one hotment. Like Viksha. Viksha means what? Ordinary thing. But Viksha, please come for Viksha. What is it? Coming for? What is it? Invited for Viksha? Nonsense. Viksha is to be begged, not to be invited. But this is the time we live with, friends. Just see that. Think. The person goes into the gods of religious kind. there is disappointed. And those people who have been holding on to the gods of that kind, religious kind, they are also got nothing. So they are disappointed, they come back with the tongue out to indulge in this world for some time. They go to the gods of material kind. That is how you shall see. Alternately, denial, indulgence, indulgence, denial, denial, indulgence, indulgence, denial. Problem is not solved because you are going to that type of God. Because you are going to happiness which is an object. You are going to a God which is an object. But there are two things. If some thought can provide you God in all forms, happiness is in yourself. Are you getting that point, please? God is not one of a kind. When you say the word God is not one name for one form, it is the name for all forms. Ishvara, Ishavashyam. Understand that. When you do that, what happens? In every form you see Ishvara. In every experience you see happiness. Which one is better? Both are fine. Yet, between the two, understand, between the two, for some people, language of happiness is comfortable. For some people, language of God is comfortable. If you are an intellectual, if you are a thinker, language of happiness will be very comfortable to you. In our generation, people shall be interested in being with themselves. If you tell them to be with the God, it will be very, very difficult. Not impossible, but difficult. And by chance you want to initiate him to a God, bring him to that God which includes him. This arrogant, understand, this arrogant individual who was calling everybody else obscurantist because of the practices of religion, now should recognize himself is the obscurantist because he talks the language of total obscurity. This speaks the language of the individuality, very ancient language of the individuality. Just like ignorance is beginningless, individuality speaks that language of beginningless ignorance. Holds on to myths, happiness is in the object. Who is obscurantist? One who says I am the happiness or one who says I am miserable? Bring in your logic, sir, you will see. Who is the obscurantist? Who is the one who is misguiding people? One who says I am the happiness or one who says happiness is in the object? Security is in the object. Which is the man? Who is the man who has found the security in the object? It's a contradiction in terms. If you find security anywhere, that becomes your insecurity. Do you understand? Does it get into your skull? Think of it. Anywhere you find security, that shall be your insecurity. If gold is your security, gold is your insecurity. Money is your security, money is your insecurity. Person is your security, person is your insecurity. God is your security, God is your insecurity. That is why you have to defend God. Fanatics shall defend God. Religious fanatics shall defend God. Secular fanatics shall defend economy, paisa. Defend the economy. Because economy collapses, their dream world collapses. What is happening today, friends? Think of it. The whole dream world collapsing everywhere. How many people are falling victims? When the stock market collapses, how many people die? Who keeps track of it? How many families are destroyed? It sends a shock wave, just like an earthquake. The whole thing is shaking. It's a financial earthquake in the stock exchange. It sends shock waves through the world market. And who fall victim? All top people. Average man in the village makes no difference to him. Whether dollar is 50 rupees to 1 or 100 rupees to 1, average man has no problem. Why? He does not use dollar in life. It makes no difference to him. Are you getting that point, please? See that clearly. Anything that is your security becomes your insecurity. So at no time religion must be your security. That is a religion which shall provide security to me. That is secularism, who should provide security to me for my sake. I am secured. Why? Because I am the security itself. I am happy. Why? Because I am the happiness itself. I am divine because I am the divinity itself. Don't say I am God because I am God itself. Eh? God is here. Understand that point. Never you say I am God. God is here. You cannot say this much is India. India is here, but this much is not India. In every part of the body I am, but this much is not me. You can't just take a body here and tell me I brought Swamiji. You can't take a cell and you say I brought the person. You cannot. Your whole vision is so clear. You do not, and unconsciously, unnecessarily, the people do not understand Vedanta. So Vedanta says, I am God. You think somebody must be that stupid to say that? Huh? God is here. When you say the word God is not a name to a form. So introduce him to that Ishvara, which is in all forms. That is why it is so easy for a person growing up in this tradition. You can see how comfortable in this tradition do people worship anything. You go to a puja room, you shall see every form. That is why in this country, all persecuted religious people have found place. Because the culture is like that. Anything is okay. You can, you can prostrate to Rama, Krishna, Hari, Buddha, Jesus, what is that, Sufi, Buddhist, Jain. Even the hedonist, the fellow who doesn't believe in anything also is accepted. Is all right. Understand? Everything is accepted. Why? Everything is God. It makes no difference. But the person who believes in this is the only God cannot accept you. So who creates the division and differences? Understand? Please see the point. We don't need a religion, we don't need some type of thought to create the differences. So when you are tired of, listen, so every one of us shall begin with bondage, sense of limitation. Educated that we are, we want to be free. And everybody wants us to be self-reliant, get educated, get everything. But then, as time passes, you discover, after all, that fails. Then where do you go? You go to religion. And such a person, to him if you say believe in God, he can't handle it. How can I believe? Because I am self-reliant. That has been message given to him. So if you put him to a God, for some time he'll feel comfortable. Again he feels uncomfortable. Because this idea will come back again. Because you are conditioned to believe, understand, that I am self-reliant, self-reliant. You will hate yourself to sell your mind, to sell your intelligence to some imaginary God. You cannot. That is why people find it difficult. The godless philosophy is so acceptable to people who are individualistic. A godless philosophy is very easily acceptable. Why? Because they don't have to be sacrificing themselves. Because in the presence of a more powerful entity, your individuality feels threatened. But suppose you bring in a God in whose presence you are not threatened, you are empowered. If you bring in a God in whose presence you are not threatened, but you are empowered. Why? God is here. Previously I was thinking, I am an ordinary man. Now I am an Indian. Whoa. I am the part of an Indian subcontinent. The cultured country. And the part of the American continent, part of the European continent, with so much of riches. How do you feel? Proud. I'm part of 1 billion people following religion. How do you get that confidence? But all these are limited, because if you are proud of being in one country, everybody is a patriot. One country's patriot is other country's enemy. Terrorist. You don't know what to do. But suppose you say, when I say, I am the devotee, everybody comes included in that. You are not special. Everywhere. When I say all the humanity, if you say, I belong to the earth, you have got a huge makeover. Where you from ordinary, average little individual, you are now part of the whole earth, now part of the whole universe, part of the whole Ishvara himself. Happy to give up your individuality. Understand? Easy. Or you say, difficult, I can't handle this God because it's too much resistance inside. I cannot give up. Okay, then try to go into the source of the individuality. Nirguna Brahma Upasana. Who is this I? The I who is challenging everybody now must challenge himself. I can't surrender to anybody. Who is this I? Because you are in conflict. You cannot surrender, nor can you live with your individuality. Both ways you are in trouble. Are you getting that? Both ways you are in trouble. You cannot surrender, you are in trouble. Are you getting that? To maintain the individuality also is in trouble. What shall you do? Is there any via media? Is there any other way? Yes. Go back to the source of yourself. You have questioned everybody in your arrogance. Now question yourself. Okay. That is the beginning of your end. Once you start questioning yourself, who am I? When you're asking, are you getting that? When you say questioning yourself, what Bhagavan says, Tesham aham samudarta, I shall be their rescuer. I'll rescue them. Who is that I? Aham atma gudakesa sarvabhutasasta. I in them will rescue them. Not that Krishna comes and puts you with the flute. And Garuda comes and picks you up from your individuality and takes you somewhere. No. I in him. Do you understand? If I were to introduce you to happiness, I have to introduce I to yourself. Can I introduce happiness to yourself without making you understand who you are? How can you make anybody understand God without making him understand who he is? Speak the language. Call it happiness, call it God. Doesn't matter. You are a wonderful person. You understand? And everybody is like that. Whoever recognizes it, oh, what a life it is thereafter. Because I am the happiness itself. As happy as divine. Oh, 100% happy, 100% spiritual. Huh? Are you getting that point? No, this is not a joke. You are 100% spiritual, 100% materialist. That is why Rajarshi. You are a Raja, you are a Rishi. You are a Rishi because you know the truth of the absolute. Raja because all material things at your disposal. Everything, there is nothing which you cannot make it. If you want to make it, you make it. You don't want, don't want. When you don't want it, what happens? No problem. For you, hey, both are wonderful. Bhagavan says, Mayi eva mana adatsva. How shall I do it? Mayi eva mana adatsva. May your mind be always in me. Mayi buddhi niveshaya. May your mind, your thought, intelligence be sacrificed, dwell upon me. We'll explain it. Nivashishyasi mayeva. You shall nivashishyasi. You shall enter into me. You shall abide in me. Ata urdhvam. After that, when you surrender, when you all the time, you shall be one with me. Not shanshaya. Hey Arjuna, may you not have any doubt in it. You cannot have a doubt in it. You surrender to me. How? How will you surrender? Please see. Now he speaks because understand, first 6 chapters have gone into Nirguna Brahma Upasana, about understanding of yourself. And 6th chapter dealt with meditation. Now Bhagavan is dealing with what? Devotion. So don't say contradiction. Are you getting that point? It is just devotion is the subject. Therefore individuality, how will he manage? Contemplate upon me. As what? Nantam na madhyam na punastavadim pashyami vishveshwara vishwarupa. O Lord, there is no beginning, no middle, no end to it. Entire 11th chapter. There is no beginning, no middle, no end to it. And therefore this body, mayeva manadatsva, mind finished. Buddhi nivesha, intelligence is chutney. In the appreciation of totality, can you stand apart? Nivashishyasi mayevam. You cannot escape being with myself. adaurdhvam. Na sansaya. In this, there is no doubt. Don't have any doubt in it. Why? You are all, from Bhagavan's standpoint, the standpoint of the truth, you are already in it. Only from your standpoint, you thought you are separate. Now your sense of separation should go. God does not need to be enlightened. Understand? Your sense of separation disappears because individuality created the barrier. Imaginary barrier. Understand? Imaginary barrier. You remove the barrier. How? By removing that one which is imagining everything. Individuality is it has a tremendous capacity, fertile imagination. So limited, therefore frustrated, angry, jealous, unhappy, miserable, insecure. And from that, whish, goes on jumping, everything. Understand? Be happy and try to be miserable. Come on. Be happy and try to be a bad person. Difficult. Understand? That is why, so why say, mayi eva manadatsva? You can ask, how do I do that? Don't ask this really affectionately silly question. Why? You are a great worshipper, great devotee. How can you say that? You think for yourself. How have you been devoted to your money, your gold? What is your dedication? Think. You have got a practice. What? You are a drunkard. You drink coffee, morning, evening, midday. Coffee. Obsession with coffee. Obsession with tea. Obsession with sex. Obsession with food. Obsession with a man or woman. Obsession with... That obsession, how did you maintain? Principle is, mayi eva manadhatsva. Mayi buddhim niveshaya. Nivasishyasi mayi evam. Your mind must always think of that food or sex. It must always think of that money or the position. All the time. If you forget, you are not a devotee. Don't say that you don't know. You are a great devotee. You have been devotee of a lesser God, not the God. What you have to do is just remove that object of your obsession from the food to sex to power to position to God. Bas. Nothing more than that. That is why Tulsidas, Bilwa Mangala, just like that. The people who are so obsessed with their wives, the wives felt humiliated. Because the man cannot straina, as they call it, straina. Straina means stuck with his wife. Can't live without that woman even for a day. Woman goes to father's house, the man also follows to father's house. The woman feels embarrassed. So he tells Tulsidas, what type of man you are? The amount of obsession you have towards me, a little bit of it towards God, you will see God. He ran and he saw God. Why? In moments of obsession is similar, whether you are divinely obsessed or spiritually with spirit obsessed. Both are one and the same. A fellow is drunk, does he care whether it is evening or morning? Does he care if he is selling his father's watch or mother's ornament? Does he care what people think of him? Does he care the job is gone or not gone? It makes no difference. Why? Because he is with his devata. He is with his deity. Mr. Wine, Duvon. He is with the wine. So he wants wine, morning, evening, midday, midnight. So it doesn't matter what people think. So the person who is worshipping God also, what he thinks? Some fellows sell their luggage, sell everything, neglect their husband, neglect their wives, neglect their family, give up the job. All for what? God. What happens? Similar result. To make a movie, some fellow is so stuck on the movie, to make a movie, he pawns his wife's jewelry, sells his land, takes money from the bank. He doesn't know whether it will work or not. But he invests everything. At the end of it, he may be on the road. You invest all your faith in a God. At the end of it, you may be on the road. Think please. So you are a devotee. But now replace it with the real God, not the lower, not a lesser God. Even a communist, a hardcore non-believer, is a very spiritual person. Because for him, state is the God. Communist manifesto is the Vedas, Upanishads. According to that only everything will function. The leaders are the high priests. And the priests, of course, have no rules. Followers have all the rules. Brezhnev had the most beautiful collections of antique cars. But other people should have same type of looking ordinary car. If you are the communist leader, you will have the Mediterranean Sea, dacha. You should have the best places, best things. Ordinary people, foot soldiers, devotees, right? Everywhere it is like that. You understand what I'm talking? Capitalism, money is God. Economics is the Vedas. Capitalists are the followers. Economists are the priests, high priests. They should tell what to do, what not to do. But at the end of the day, you are finished. Are you getting that point, please? Everywhere. Even the secular pleasure, if you think of it, it doesn't matter. You think for yourself. You can take anything. Make a sound a God. Make touch, sex a God. Make a sight a God. Make a taste a God. Make a smell a God. You look for yourself. Any obsession you have, that is your God. And you are living a dog's life because you don't know what to do. Totally dependent. And you have sacrificed everything for that. The drunkard will not mind selling the children's thing. Wife, husband, nobody matters. Money, wealth, position, nothing matters. Just like you are divinely intoxicated, you don't care whose family you are, which family you are coming from. Like one IPS officer, he considers himself a Radha. He's an IPS officer, Indian Police Service, elite service. But the person puts on the dress of a woman. He's a man, but he puts on a dress of a woman and hangs around. Why? This is Radha. Is Krishna's choice. Who chose him? Krishna chose him. He got himself chosen. Now he goes around. At least that is something. Other day in newspaper it came. There is one movie star in Bombay. One man, for 30 years in UP, considers him as his wife. So he has dressed himself as a female and writes all letter to the, you understand, psychologically demented, destroyed individual. And what he says? He is his wife. So this fellow writes every day one letter to him. No, what do you do? He is putting on, he has a wife, he has 3 children, but every day he puts on that dress. He doesn't care what the world says, what people say. Why? Devotee. You understand the donkeys now? This obsession. No. Please think. Any obsession makes you a high-class donkey. Think of it. But the person thinks he is spiritual. And what is politically, religiously right language? You should be tolerant. You should never tell that they are wrong. All paths lead to the same goal. Who talks? Mentally lazy, lethargic. People who have no enthusiasm to analyze, question. With one paintbrush, you color the whole thing. Everything is same. Why? We don't have to worry. So I can live with my own little confusions, my own conclusions. For God's sake, if you do that, you shall be in trouble. Just a matter of time. Understand? That is because you are going to gain by accepting everything as one. Your purpose is not leading the world, helping people, but yourself literally fishing in the dirty water. Everything is same. So everybody will recognize he is a great secularist who accepts everything as one and the same. Oh, I see. Everything is one and the same. Even one who says God is in and all forms is same as the person who says there is an exclusive God. How? One who says life, your liberation here and now is same as your release after the death. How? But everything is one and the same. We should not talk about it. 2 2s are 4 also, 2 2s are 5 also. Don't say 5 is wrong. You're hurting people's sentiment, True. You shall educate everybody. You understand? Just think of it. We have given a talk, all the paths leading to the same goal, somewhere in Melbourne. Pick up that cassette and listen. It is an amazing cassette. If there is a distance, there will be so many paths. When there is no distance, what are the paths now? Think of it. Anyway, so mayi eva manaha, that's why. So don't say, I don't know how to be devoted to God. You know how to be devoted to your habit. How do you maintain your habit of a smoke? Keep it everything in a reachable place, where you can reach it easier. Morning, bit under the pillow, matchbox also ready. Because morning when you get up, first thing you have to do the Agnihotra. That fire ritual must be done. So it should be underneath. And by chance somebody has taken it away from the morning. What do? You bring the whole roof down. Who has taken my God? Because I must hold him in my hand, then praise his song with my lips, put him there. Right? And in a lonely place where nobody else is there, enjoying the devotion to the fragrance of this nonsense. You understand? And by chance somebody is coming to know, don't disturb me. Perfect, absolutely true. That you are smoking itself is not a disturbance. You understand? People coming there to watch you drink smoking is a disturbance. But your habit is not a disturbance. Are you getting that? If I am taking tea, why are you looking at me? Oh, but why are you taking the tea? Don't question. Understand? I am doing something wrong, that doesn't matter. If somebody is looking at it, of course that is very wrong. True. You understand? You are so devoted. You are so devoted. And you maintain it, your anger. Don't you maintain your anger? If you can't maintain, your anger will not be there. You know that? To be angry, you have to maintain it. If you are tired of your anger will go away. Maintaining anger is a very, very important thing. You should have total dedication. Total dedication to your anger, to your hatred, to your jealousy, to your everything. Total dedication. Once in a while you must keep the practice. Or else you will forget how to be angry. So whenever you get a chance, jump at it. True. Then you will be maintaining it. Unhappiness also. Beautiful habit. Worship it every day. Every day for some time be unhappy. Or else you lose touch with the reality of life. Unhappiness must be maintained. You understand? If you have done it, you shall know it, how to be happy in life, how to be worshipping God also in life. You understand, sir? Just replace it. Your same obsession to the object, replace it with God, truth, all-pervasive, or with happiness myself. You shall come to me. And then Bhagavan goes on saying that, we shall see tomorrow. So goes, Maharaj, oh God, very, very difficult. Yeah, don't worry. Anything you do, you can remember me. We shall see. I wish I can go on, but don't worry about it. Tomorrow we shall see that. He says, oh, so difficult, my mind is not going. Huh? If you cannot do it, read, and we shall see tomorrow. Atha chittam samadhatum esha nashaknoshi mai sthiram abhyasayogena tataha mami chaptum dhananjaya. We shall see tomorrow the next 4 verses. He goes on giving you the simplest solution, so that you cannot say, I cannot do it. That type of thing. You understand? It's so beautiful. Tomorrow we shall see. Dream all over night. Okay? You shall see. The whole thing. You cannot say, no, I cannot do. Huh? Cannot? Everybody can do it. No, I cannot think of it. Can you not think of other? How are you thinking of other things? Do that way. How can I think about all the time? Why do you feel restless before food? Suppose you don't eat certain food, how do you feel restless? Yes, feel restless that you don't pray God. Do you feel restless of praying God? No. Then why do you feel restless by eating money, eating food, counting your money? You know the restlessness, but now change it. Restlessness for what? Don't say you don't know. That is why it's the easiest thing to be. So suddenly you know what does it mean? Your weaknesses are divinized. What better things you want? Your weaknesses are divinized. Mahadeva, what can I say? Close your eyes. Tomorrow we shall see. Ishvara. This is what happens to a devotee, a person who understands himself, Ishvara. Everything is divine. There is nothing called a bad habit, no bad thought. There is nothing called bad. You are always at rest with yourself. And therefore, you do not act on the so-called thoughts which you don't like. There will be no such things. And even if it is there, you don't act on it. That a knife is there is not a problem. You use it on somebody's throat. You can cut a vegetable. That an emotion exists is not a problem. You act on it. Be happy with yourself, one with Ishvara. Ahamatma sarvabhutasaya sthita. Call it self, call it Ishvara, God. Always one with the